Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Well, hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we have a very special guest. Her name is Amy Marohn, and Amy is a master hypnotist, a trance medium, and founder of Sensorium Hypnosis. She helps clients worldwide bridge soul-centered healing with authentic leadership, and she's got over 30 years of rehabilitation and healing and a decade focused on spiritual hypnosis and coaching. Amy, I don't need to say more than that. Welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here today.
Oh, Joe, thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Well, I always like to get started. Our guests are wide varied from, patients to doctors and everything in between. And our listeners generally, pop in. They're like, oh, who is this? And so, I like to start off a conversation with who's Amy and what brought you here?
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much. Well, I want to go backward in time
Sure.
to a time in my life before I found the path that I'm currently on.
Okay.
And so, like so many, I just say generically light workers, people who have a more spiritual perspective on their role. And, even before I stepped into this role, I knew I was here on the earth plane as a helper healer.
I love it. I want to stop just for 1 second because
Uh-huh.
I've noticed, you know, this podcast is focused on healthy living, and I've always said mind, body, spirit. But I realized in the past month or so, many of our guests have been more focused on the spiritual side of things. I find that interesting and insightful because I think that, the body sort of mirrors what the spirit's doing. And,
Uh,
the body is like a reflection of what's happening in the real world, which is the world
uh-huh.
of energy. Anyways, I just threw that out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing observation. I had been working more in the corporate arena in the field of rehabilitation. My last position was working on a multidisciplinary team to get a pain management program open. And my focus was working with injured workers and helping them get back into the workplace
Uh-huh.
post-injury. So, but during this time, Joe, I began to develop this mysterious illness where chronic fatigue, chronic pain, flu-like symptoms, on and on, digestive issues. I mean, it was just something that was rippling through my immune system. This was a 5-year journey of trying to find a doctor, the right doctor, a diagnosis, all of the things. And as time went on, my symptoms worsened, and it became clearer and clearer to me that I would soon need to step away from the corporate world because my body just couldn't sustain the schedule, the travel, the responsibilities. And, to add insult to injury, I was going through a divorce.
Oh, no.
I was going to be the sole provider for my son, who was under 10 years old at that time.
Wow.
And my mother, who had lost her husband, moved out here to the Seattle area to spend her retirement years with me. Just had purchased a new house, and my entire immune system was falling apart.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so, and again, it was a slow progression of getting sicker and sicker over a 5-year time period. So it didn't show up out of the blue.
And
So,
it didn't show up on any kind of test or anything or Lyme disease?
it was very interesting because I know now in retrospect, doctors were were looking in the wrong places, so to
Okay.
speak, weren't running the right tests. And so what turned out to be an autoimmune disease wasn't even on their radar because it
Okay.
was a less common autoimmune disease. And of course, the medical field has made a lot of advancements in understanding this condition, but
Sure.
go back 14 years ago, it
Right.
wasn't
Right.
even on their radar.
Right.
So
Right.
I ended up finding a doctor back then in Michigan, of all places, who
Hmm.
was able to put a name on this condition. It's called myalgic encephalomyelitis.
Oh, wow. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
that's
heard
a
of that one.
mouthful.
Yeah.
Emmy for short. I get a little annoyed when the medical profession puts the chronic fatigue label on it,
Right. Epstein
because
Barr, I think they used to call it.
yeah, completely. I mean, it doesn't really explain what's happening to the body.
Right.
It almost puts it in a psych, and it has in the past put it in this psych category,
Right.
which is annoying because now we know that, the cells in the body aren't functioning appropriately.
Right.
And it's really most accurately a neuromuscular disease. It
Oh,
affects, inflammation of the brain and the spinal cord. It affects the muscles of the body.
or like
Um,
lupus.
yeah, absolutely. And it affects even, a lot of us have what's called dysautonomia, and it dysregulates the entire autonomic system.
Wow.
So this beautiful soul in Michigan, who has since passed, actually had the condition himself.
Okay.
Harvard educated doctor, made tremendous advancements in the diagnosing this condition, and was using antivirals actually in a large dosage to be able to treat this. 10 months flying back and forth.
That's a
Um,
lot of trouble.
yeah, a lot of travel. Tried this protocol on me. It didn't work. I missed the optimal window of time where this treatment could have possibly, um, you know, either lowered the volume or reversed the impact of this condition.
Hmm.
10 months in, thank you so much for helping me. This isn't working. I literally come home. I have to let go of my job, throw
Wow.
my hands in the air, and I said, God, either take me or heal me, but do
I
not
hear you.
leave me this way. Right. And Joe, I'm laughing. I mean, now my heart is smiling. Careful what you wish for.
I get it.
Right. And so I have a near-death experience.
Uh-huh.
And I'm leaving so much out in terms of
Sure, sure.
trips to the ER, 3-4 days in the cardiac unit under observation because my heart is beating too fast or too slow. I'm having these really weird drops in blood pressure, what's called near syncope. These moments where my body feels like I'm going to pass out, tunnel vision, the whole thing.
Wow.
My body is an absolute disaster. And I have this near death experience, not in the hospital, not during surgery, as you often hear
Hmm.
of most commonly in near death experiences. I'm at home, in bed by myself. My soul leaves my body,
Wow.
and I have what I'll explain, I can best describe as a clairaudient and clairsentient experience where a voice or a thought enters my awareness, right? That said to me, Amy, are you ready to leave the earth plane?
Whoa.
Yeah, yeah. Are you ready to leave the earth plane? So clairaudiently,
Now,
um,
prior to this, was this
uh-huh,
something that you would have thought was a thing? Like, where was your mind
yeah,
before that? Were you
yeah.
okay, good.
Absolutely. So, Joe, since my childhood, I have felt a very, very strong connection to the etheric realm. I grew up Catholic, although interestingly, I didn't espouse many of the classic, philosophies
I get
behind
it.
religion.
I was there too.
Yeah,
Things
absolutely.
are like, I don't know about that part. That doesn't seem,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because even as a small child, my teachers would send my religion papers home for my parents to sign because they were so off the wall. And there was this you know my my parents and my teachers called it religion according to Amy,
Yeah.
because it certainly didn't fit within the framework of Catholicism
Yeah,
or
dogma just didn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. I'm like, why? Because you said so? Like,
exactly.
where is this coming from? You're
Yeah.
just saying, do this and believe this. And I'm like, eh, I'd rather see it and feel it first, you know?
Oh, that's exactly right. And at the same, I mean, I was very lucky because neither one of my parents, even though they were both raised Catholic, they were very progressive thinkers
Okay.
and they were educators. And so, it was a wonderful, you know, place to be, um,
Hmm.
to be able to ask some of the deeper questions at the dinner table.
Right, right, right.
My parents always challenge convention.
Oh,
So
good. Good for
I'm
them.
really grateful for that. And so, but also as a child, I didn't realize it at the time, but I was channeling music
Oh,
from the
wow.
higher realm. So at 8 and 9 and 10 years old, with very little formal training, I would sit at the piano and these, now I know these, you know, songs and melodies were just coming through me. And
Wow.
at a very young age, I was creating this, I wouldn't say terribly sophisticated music, but
Music doesn't have to be complicated to be beautiful.
well, there you go. And I worked with a number of musicians that could help me,
Huh?
um, turn this music into, you know, uh, harmonies and instruments, and
Right, right.
so
Can
it
always
fell
be
into the
expanded.
right hands, and I had the right mentors to help me create, more sophisticated music.
Nice.
So and I felt again, the real presence of spirit in my life. And while everybody else was doing math in the classroom, I'm writing music, I'm writing
Nice.
poems, I'm having this two-way conversation with the spirit world that made me look terribly ADHD, and incredibly unfocused and undisciplined.
Right.
But it ended up really my early beginnings of this incredible two-way communication with the spirit world. So I knew
So
there was
who
something.
did you
Yeah,
who were you talking to, I guess? Is like, there's so many, like there's people that are like either it's Jesus or it's evil spirits. And then there's other people that say, well, there's sure a lot more than that going on out
yeah,
there. And there's this wide range of ancestors to angels
yeah.
and what's your thoughts on all that?
Yeah. Well, Joe, I say all of the above.
Hmm.
In my early beginnings, it was Jesus, right? Because that
Sure.
was my frame of reference.
Right.
But now, 10 years of spiritual hypnotherapy, even my clients have expanded my mind.
Yeah, but of
I've,
course.
I've reached a place in my spiritual maturation or journey where I've come to believe that multiple things can exist
Sure.
simultaneously.
Anything's possible. Everything's
Yeah,
possible. Yeah.
absolutely. So, I have this near death experience. My soul leaves my body. Clairaudiently, I hear this voice. The voice asks me, "Are you ready to leave the earth plane?"
Yeah.
And the clairsentient part came next in my experience, Joe. And what I mean by that is, in this altered state, as I cross this threshold into the spiritual world, I'm downloaded the cumulative impact that my, um, my future death would have on my son.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I could
That's heavy.
feel, oh, it is. It was profound, Joe, because in that moment, right, it was very futuristic.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
could imagine how that would impact my son. I could feel the grief and the sadness. I could feel the this feeling of being lost and abandoned and left unguided and unsupported. All of that, and in that moment, I was able to make the most informed and enlightened choice that I could make at that time. And Joe, I also realized in that moment that I had a soul contract with my son.
Oh, wow.
And that had to do with being by his side and a champion of his, or a guardian of his best interest here. And so I made that choice, that very informed and enlightened choice. As much as I'm physically suffering, I need to come back.
Yeah.
And
All
so
about you.
yeah, and in that moment, I'm just going to call it the voice, even though it's more of a thought or a mental awareness that's walking me through this decision. I was told, well, if you go back, Amy, you will live more intentionally.
Yeah.
I had no idea, Joe, what that meant. No idea. So back the soul's absorbed back into the body, and almost like it was like science fiction movie.
Yeah.
I wasn't so much seeing as I was hearing and feeling.
Okay.
Come back into the body, and my life moving forward was never the same. I then realized, in terms of these clairs and the gifts of the spirit, even though I believe we all have them,
Sure.
and even though, as we discussed a few minutes ago, I absolutely felt this strong connection. It was like now all of the clairs were on. It was like me on steroids.
Wow.
Spiritually, within
Amy 4.0.
completely within days of that experience, Joe, I was walking down my hallway, and the voice said, "You're going back to school," which was crazy, because I want to make it clear to our audience, this was not a spontaneous physical healing.
Right.
I still have this condition. It's been diagnosed. There's no treatment. I don't know what the prognosis is.
Right.
And then a couple days later, the voice says, "You're going back for training to be a hypnotist."
Okay.
Now that was crazy, Joe. I had never known a hypnotist.
Yeah. And it's not like one of your goals from a childhood or something like that.
Completely. And I had never even Googled randomly, like, what is the training of? I just had no idea. So now, but the strange and beautiful thing is, Joe, I never even questioned the authenticity of this connection.
Okay.
And this higher intelligence that I now knew and trusted was going to guide me out of this horrible illness, this financial ruin that was created by having to leave conventional employment, and let go of this 30-year climb in my prior career.
Right.
And now,
starting all over again.
My mortgage, and how am I going to navigate a divorce and take care of this child? And I went through the training, and fast forward to now, Joe, it has been the most magnificent journey, from classic hypnosis to spiritual hypnosis, and a weaving in of all these other modalities, metaphysical healing, mediumship healing, trance healing, and I've had the glorious experience of the spirit world shaping every single tool and making it a very unique imprint of my life journey, and just a very, very unique, I call it a self-healing modality.
Nice.
Right? Because it's less about what I'm doing to or for my clients. It's more about what I'm empowering my clients to do for themselves.
Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, ultimately it comes down to that, it's like people think, you're going to go and get a guru or a healer or something like that, and they're going to do something to you or for you. But the truth is, all they can even hope to do is get you to see what's inside of you and activate it, or help you to activate it yourself.
Absolutely. Joe, that is so spot on. And so, in the beginning of my journey as a hypnotist, I realized, boy, classic or mainstream hypnosis isn't for me.
Okay.
Because, it's very script based, it's very one size fits all. In the beginning, right, when you're just getting your feet wet as a hypnotist, it's actually in a lot of ways very kind of Western medicine model in the sense of, you come to me with a problem and here's a solution. It's very prescriptive, right?
Textbook, yeah.
And so within like 6 months to a year, I mean, in a way, it's kind of important as a new hypnotist to try that on.
Sure.
At least, and again, to practice, helping your clients get into theta. But I have to say, that it is the connection, I think, as a spiritual hypnotist now to the etheric realm, that can really advance the progression of your work, because it's helping you tap into high frequency energies. And the key for me, in terms of like the framework and the shift in philosophy, is that I came to understand through my own healing journey that the answers truly lie within each and every one of us. So I began to understand myself as more of a coach or a guide in helping other people tap in to their inner wisdom, right? To connect with the higher mind. And if they are of a spiritual mindset, to even tap into the etheric realm. I truly believe, that the most effective healer of all is you, the client,
100%. Yeah.
right? And not me.
Right.
And I also believe that through these tools that Spirit has helped me integrate into my practice, that my job is now to help my clients ignite their inner healer.
Nice.
Right.
So when a client comes to you, like, you've got all these tools in your box.
Yeah.
So kind of walk me through, like, say I'm your new client.
Yeah.
I say, hey, I've got this issue, or I've got this health problem, or whatever it is. Can you help me? How do we go from here?
Yeah. Well, so people typically find me through podcasts.
Okay.
And they typically find me through articles. I blog. I'm a passionate blogger
Nice.
on all kinds of wild spiritual topics.
Love it.
And I wrote a book. This is this is Whispers Beyond the Veil,
Nice.
channel teachings inspired by the spirit world. So that's typically, not always, or people do a Google search,
Uh-huh.
and they typically type in like mind, body, soul healing,
Okay.
or metaphysical healing, or mediumship healing. It's usually a spiritual term that connects people to me. Then they will find me on my website, and they'll see free spiritual healing consultation.
All right.
First point of entry. And here's why, Joe. I think it's really, really important for people to get some time with me,
Right.
to tell me more about, what are their goals? What are
Uh-huh.
they working on in their life?
What have they done?
Yeah, absolutely. Where are they now? And paint me a picture, give me a vision of where they want to be.
Mhm.
I have a lot of there's a lot of questions, boxes they check before, in the process of scheduling that consultation, that give me such a good idea of who they are
Got it.
spiritually as a soul, and what their core values are. And then through this consultation, spirit guides me in asking some
All
very,
right.
very poignant questions that help me know them better. And then it creates an opportunity for them to ask me questions.
Got it.
And then through that process, Joe, I custom design
Nice.
or make some recommendations about like what this could look like. Because every soul is different, has different,
Right.
so it's
Unique to our
very, very
fingerprint. Yeah.
personal, right? And they can book sessions from there if it feels like a good fit both ways, right? Because I want to make sure it's in the wheelhouse of what I do, or in
Sure.
some cases, do I have another colleague in my inner circle that might be a better point of entry,
Right.
right? This is a humble path,
Yeah.
right? And I don't proclaim to be like the best practitioner for everyone.
Right. You're just out there trying to help people.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, um, uh, I also want to make sure that we're aligned
Right.
in our goals, and my recommendations fit within the framework of, I mean, the client is the expert in their own journey. So
Sure.
again, it's got to be very humble, and it has to come from a place of spiritual integrity. And
Right.
so once we map out what that looks like, they can do their sessions virtually, or if they're local to me, they can pop in and do these in person.
Nice.
And it's all customized. So it isn't, some people are very, very sophisticated, and they've done a lot of work, and they're like, hey,
Yeah.
I want to come in. I want
I already
some
know what they're looking for. Yeah.
yeah, I want to open my clairs. I want to have more fluid communication with spirit. Other people are like, they come for grief and loss. I just lost my wife.
Yeah.
And I want to do, can you help connect me with her? Can we do some grief and loss therapy? I'm a metaphysical minister too, so I can do the personal counseling end of things, and we can also weave in spiritual hypnosis and mediumship, all the things.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice. Well, as I suspected, we're going to get into a conversation and run out of time before we
Yeah.
even scratch the surface. But
Absolutely.
this is a point where I'd like to see if I can get you to kind of wrap your thoughts up into one sort of a parting thought that we can leave our listeners with. And then
Yeah.
I most sincerely want to invite you back, because I feel like we
Oh.
just have barely touched the surface of this conversation, and there's so much more to talk about. But yeah, why don't you see what we can do to wrap up your thoughts into
Yeah.
one, or a central idea to leave our guests with, and then once again show everybody how we can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Joe, I just want to say, you know, I I absolutely love what I do. And for a lot of people, part of their spiritual evolution is finding their what I call career calling. Um,
Right.
and if I could relay one message to other incredible light workers who are working across every industry under the sun, right? Light worker and helper healer isn't a title, it's a frequency. So
Yeah,
you
for
can be an
sure.
engineer, right, and be a light worker. You can
Right.
be an IT professional or own a string of coffee stands and be a light worker, right? So I
Yeah.
want to make that clear. If you are wanting to work independently on your spiritual journey, this book that I recently wrote, Whispers Beyond the Veil, Channel Teachings Inspired by the Spirit World, you can find it on Amazon. I'm not pumping this. This isn't coming from ego. This is a spiritual curriculum. Every chapter has journal prompts.
Nice.
The purpose of this book is to help light workers connect with the most authentic version of themselves.
Oh,
And also, if they're interested, connect with the spirit world. Each and
nice.
every one of us is a medium, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
This is our birthright. And so, if you're a quiet soul and you want to do self study, that's the book. If you feel like you want a little bit more guidance on your spiritual path, I'm here.
Nice.
There's tons of light workers around the globe. You can just go to my website. It's sensoriumhypnosis.com,
Nice.
SENSORIUM. Sensorium means senses,
Mhm.
sensoriumhypnosis.com. And from there, you can connect to my YouTube channel, my book, consultations, a ton of free blogs. I'm going to try to be diligent with putting more free materials up on my website for other light workers. And my YouTube channel, which you can connect with on my website, by the way, has lots of free meditations uh,
Nice.
and guided, just guided meditations. My candle meditation is it's free and it helps people get into a deeper theta state or a trance state, and light workers are really enjoying that. So
Beautiful, beautiful.
yeah.
Well, Amy, it's been an absolute joy. And again, hopefully we can schedule soon to have you come back and continue this conversation. I feel like we just barely got started talking. Um, and like we talked about in the beginning, the goal of this podcast is to create a community. And I feel like I've got a new friend. So this is
Oh, Joe, likewise. I have just so enjoyed you, enjoy your show. Thank you for all the beautiful work you do and for providing this incredible platform for all of us people working out of our basements.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, we're all doing this together.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's so homespun. I love it.
I love it. Well, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and I want to thank all of our listeners that make this show possible, and we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.